long term and 1 page for the year that we're going into. We also have another thing that we call 100-day plans. We decided, that a good year really needs to be broken down into bite-sized chunks.
Sure.
In segments. It's a little bit like in a football analogy. If you focus on winning every Saturday, before you know it, you'll get to the end of the season and you'll have a 12-0 year. But if all you talk about is a 12-0 year, you'll probably never have one. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So a 100-day plan is, what are the 6 to 10 things that you need to get done in the next 100 days on the path to long-term progress? And then we recycle into a second 100-day and a third 100-day plans. So it helps to keep us, a lot fleeter afoot instead of being consumed with strategizing ad nauseum about the future. We got a 1-page thing that's our purpose, a 1-page thing that's our plan, and then we have this 100-day cycling thing.
So when you have these 100-day plans, do you have to have everything done on your first 100-day plan before you move on to your second 100-day plan?
No, I mean, you're at some points in time, you're going to have 6 to 10 things there, and you'll maybe knock off 4 to 5 of them, and the other ones will have to get recycled. But you're then having an open, honest, candid discussion and conversation about, okay, what are the barriers to getting it done?
Sure.
And so, you're keeping the most important things out in front of you all the time. And I think that's really important in today's environment where, to some extent, we have an overload of information. And we also have an overload, in terms of communication devices. So you see some people who are spending all of their time on the urgent because their BlackBerry went off and somebody got in touch with them and they think they need to respond to this, that, and the other thing. And in truth, it's got nothing to do with the things that would have been on their 100-day plan.
Yeah.
And so reacting to what other people are trying to do to draw your time and attention, isn't always the best way to bring about what you need to accomplish.
We had Malcolm Gladwell come out to one of our strategy sessions, right, in November. When Malcolm was giving his speech to us, he was talking about this story, I think it was at one of the Chicago hospitals, where they couldn't figure out, they had a really low success rate. If you walk through the front door of the emergency room and someone having a heart attack, they had like 35% hit rate on being able to figure out if you were actually having a heart attack, because they were considering all this information. Right? When they boiled it down to 4 things, whatever the 4 things were, and they focused on only those 4 things to figure out if you're having a heart attack, their success rate went up to 80%. Right? So it's about taking all this information and distilling it down to just a handful of things, and if you focus on those,
the things that really matter.
Yeah.
I've read that story. It's in his book, Blink.
Sure.
And the one that I really liked in there was from the museum that had the piece that they had scientifically researched to be authentic and this, that, and the other thing. And Thomas Hoving, from the Metropolitan Museum came in, and in an instant he said,
fake.
"It's a fake."
Yeah, you knew it right away.
You knew it right away.
Right away. So that is excellence in execution. What are the fundamentals of this? Because, you can have these great plans, you can come up with these 100-day plans, but if you can't execute on them, you end up with 600-day plans and 700 things to do and nothing accomplished.
Right. Well, I think a lot of people don't have an adequate appreciation for the importance of attention to detail and excellence in execution. And I'll use Walmart as an example, because this is a company, they have a great idea, always the low price, but it's their ability to execute that really makes them successful. They always have the right product in the right place at the right time at the right price. And they have a Saturday morning meeting thing out in Arkansas, where if you work out in Bentonville on Saturday mornings, you go to the Saturday morning meeting. And what do they do? What do they talk about? Well, the first thing they talk about are business results through close of business midnight on Friday. This is on Saturday morning. So you talk about management in real time. I mean, these guys are just on top of the business. There's spontaneous contribution by people out in the audience to kind of explain the week that was. They then move into the week that will be, and they lay out all of the things that they're going to feature, for example. And they talk about how they're going to execute them in store. And, you know, it's a very impressive kind of session when you go to it. And I remember when I went, scratched my head at the end, and I thought to myself two things. You know, number one, I wonder what the guys at Kmart are doing this morning.
Not meeting. I bet.
Saturday morning. Probably not meeting, probably not reviewing the week that was and setting up to beat the hell out of competition in the week that will be.
Exactly.
And the second thing I thought about is how could I apply that to my own organization? Because I think freewheeling communications like that in real time are a good thing. So both in that experience, which was at Kaiser Roth Corporation in Greensboro, North Carolina, but even in Saatchi & Saatchi today, we have ongoing meetings, you know, which is freewheeling. You just have to come, you know, with your body. You don't have to do a tremendous amount of preparation, but we will share with you the things that are what's hot and what's not and what's going on. Keep everybody up to speed for attention to detail, excellence, and execution.
Well, this is great. I learned a lot today.
Good.
These kind of conversations, you know, here I am, I'm an average guy from middle of nowhere, Nebraska, that gets an opportunity to talk to people like yourself and learn a lot, and I really appreciate that. I think, you know, you said something, you know, just a couple seconds ago about common sense. You know, a lot of the answers to a lot of these questions, people already know them, right? They're common sense.
Yeah.
If they would just listen to their common sense. And maybe
Yeah.
that old adage about common sense isn't really that common, I don't
Yeah.
know. But it just occurs to me
Yeah.
that just a little bit of thought, a little bit of common sense approach
Yeah.
goes a long way in this stuff.
All of my stuff is really rooted in common sense, but in this book that I wrote, I tried to present it in a way, and we call it Bob's Wisdom, because it gets codified into a certain kind of code of conduct or set of behaviors that really can prompt both personal and company success. So I hope that's what it does.
All right, thank you,
Great.
Bob.
Okay. Great to meet you. Thank you.